and the 7th. The organizations behind this forum invited all of the candidates who are on the ballot to be here this evening. The ones seated before you are the ones who chose to come and speak with you tonight. I will introduce them to you, starting at this end of the table. John Billings, who is a candidate in Ward 1. Carol McIntosh is sitting next to him, also a candidate in Ward 1. Jan Marie Arbor is candidate in Ward 7. And then seated at the end of the table is Rosemary Morrow, who is a candidate in Ward 1. So welcome them all. Also on the ballot, but obviously not present, is the current Ward 1 Councilman, John L. Alabine. Cynthia Haynes is also on the ballot as well in Ward 1, and current Ward 7 Councilwoman Candace Mushat is also on the ballot. Just wanted to acknowledge their names. Thank you all for being here. We will start by offering 1-minute opening statements. I'm not going to make the same mistake twice. And we will start with you, Mr. Billings.
Hi, my name is John Billings. I've been a resident of Flint for over 50 years. I've also been a resident of First Ward over 50 years. I feel I'm the most qualified because I have been helping the citizens of Flint longer than any candidate up here, I feel. I was the first board member president of House of Brain Center. I also instituted senior computer program throughout the city through every center that's still working. In the future, I hope to get Blight to do their job as well as I hope to get Blight to do their job as well as the city in cleaning up. It's not our job to do land bank jobs. It's not our job to do Blight jobs. So I feel I know the answer to get them to do the work that need to be did. Thank you.
My name is Carol McIntosh, and I also am a resident of the First Ward with over 50 years of living in the First Ward. I also am a graduate of Jackson State University and NAACP member and 28-year UAW member. I am also the only candidate up here who's ever been elected to a public service position by the people to represent the people. I've also served on the Flint Community School Board as president on occasion, vice president as well. I also have sat on your Ethics and Accountability Board as representative for the First Ward. What I hope to accomplish is to touch the residents and make a difference in everyday life for everyday people, taxpayers, and those that have been forgotten, people on fixed incomes who are not getting the economic relief that they so deserve, and to just bless the people of the First Ward who has stood the test of time, stood in there during the water crisis, the pandemic. We've been through so much in Flint, and I feel like I'm the best candidate to get the job done with experience.
Ms. Arbor, with your permission, I'd like to go ahead and let Ms. Morrow speak just because of the Ward 1 candidacy, and then we'll come to you if that's okay. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Rosemary Morrow, resident of First Ward. Born and raised in Flint, graduated from Flint Northern. I briefly left Flint and I came back. As far as how long I've been here, it doesn't matter. I've been going enough and coming back to see that the First Ward and the city has been forgotten. So what I would like to do is help the residents, because the First Ward and the city has been forgotten. There's a lot of people in office that haven't did anything. I have 29 and a half years as a public safety officer. I was a sheriff deputy. And then I've been doing the work. I've been helping with home repair and improvement, community project, cleanup projects. This ward, the city is not going to change by itself. We all have to work together.
Thank you. I'm Jan Marie Arbor, candidate for 7th Ward Council seat. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers of this forum as well as the library for allowing it to be here. And I want to thank each one of you for your presence, your interest in our local government. It's extremely important that we pay attention to what is going on locally. I'm running for this office because the office needs change. We need a different type of person representing the 7th Ward, an individual who is desirous of serving with respect for others, honesty and integrity for all, with no hidden agendas nor selfish motivations, but an individual who wants to work along with his or her colleagues in order to achieve progressive things for the city of Flint. I'm dedicated to doing the work of the 7th Ward for the entirety of the ward, not isolating any portion of the ward in deference so that another portion does not receive what it needs. I want to serve my entire ward. My ward is a part of the city, and I want to serve this city that has given so much to me. I'm a graduate of Flint Central, class of 1973. I grew up with values. I grew up with respect for others. I grew up with honesty and integrity as the guiding lights of my life. Those things are important to me, and I want to use them in public office. Thank you.
All right, thank you. The rules for this are the same as we used for the congressional. You'll get 2 minutes to respond to the questions. The timekeeper is right here. She'll show you 30 seconds. She'll show you 0. I am a little bit lenient. When I see the 0 come up, I'm not gonna just cut you off and let you finish your thought, but please be mindful that your time has expired, and in fairness to your fellow candidates, summarize and wrap up at that point. And then of course, let's be respectful of each other. Same rules apply. You don't have to respect me if you don't want to. The organizers. Our first question deals with ARPA. We've heard a lot about the $97 million that the city received through the 2021 American Rescue Plan Act that Congress passed and the president signed into law. How would you, as a member of City Council, prioritize spending what the city has left to spend out of that money under the time frame? I'm just trying to keep it real. Under the time frame prescribed by the law, how would you prioritize spending this money? Actually, the question says if the city was able to receive another large influx of federal dollars, but they do still have some of this $97 million left. So considering that and any additional major federal funding that could come into the city, how would you prioritize spending that, Mr. Bill?
Well, as you know, I don't think we have that much left. But then again, I think we got a lot left. But what I would do to prioritize it, I would mandate through the council that the money go to the citizens for which it was intended for. And the way I would do that is the way they did, like when the mayor, when he got one to be reelected, gave everybody $300 right to the water. But what I would do, instead of giving $300 to the customers through the water, I would help each and every one citizen of Flint get a check in the mail where they could do it any way they wish to spend their money instead of having it through the water. Half of them may not even have a water bill. And that's not helping us because, like I say, some that pays their water bill, giving me a credit on my water bill, not helping me. I might have other financial issues that need to be did. But another thing I would like for the opera money to go through is fixing sidewalks and porches. While I was out campaigning, you gotta be surprised. I say 80% of the residents need a new porch or some kind of new steps going up to the steps. And that's how I would prioritize money, get it to the citizens and let them do what they wanna do, or either fix their sidewalks and porches to keep from having lawsuits. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's, same rules, let's hold the applause. Ms. McIntosh.
I agree with Mr. Bill. I would look at our residents and see what their needs are first and foremost, because all of the other entities have received monies. So we need to look at our porches, we need to look at sidewalks. A lot of blue tarps still on roofs as we knock doors. Porches dilapidated, sidewalks, but we also need to look at our water situation. If we got a second round, the first thing we need to do is get from tap, clean, available drinking water. Because it doesn't matter what else we do if we still have poison water. You can have the finest home, but if you have cancer coming directly from your faucet, that is not attractive to young employed people bringing young families in. That is not attractive to businesses. So we would have to, I would look to the residents to see what their direct needs was, and then I would make sure we address our water issue. Even though the state is taking that over, I feel that is what should have been done. And we need not just roofs, not just porches, windows, sidewalks, but they need new faucets and things of that nature. And then we look at the economic development side of it, because some of those dollars should have been used for economic development. So, and then we have to be responsible, whoever those dollars are allocated to, we need to have some type of way to follow up to make sure those dollars are being used in that manner. So those would be some of the top priorities that I would address if I had the opportunity to allocate or be over those dollars being allocated.
Thank you. Yes, in 2021, the federal government provided the city of Flint with $94.7 million. That's almost $95 million. I have dissatisfaction with the way in which that money has been allocated. Considering our population, which is just under 81,000 as population right now, we have only allocated about 5% towards home improvement. I think that neighborhood stabilization is extremely important if we want to grow our city. We need to invest more into our neighborhoods, i.e. our homes. As the other candidates have indicated, we need roofs and all of those things. And looking at other cities, for instance, with Saginaw, which has about 44,000 people there, the city invested $8 million of their ARPA dollars into home improvements. In Pontiac, they committed about 15%. Again, Flint only 5%. I think that if we had an additional influx of money, I think that a considerable amount should be applied towards property lien abatement. You might remember that we lost 190 homes. That could have not happened had we chosen to use ARPA dollars, which was permissible by law, to help to keep those 190 homes off of the tax roll, or giving them away to an investor through the Genesee County office. We could have also invested in I want to say an infrastructure housing database. What I mean is this: we could have taken, for instance, property assessments along with all the property information that we have, create one portal where residents can go in and see exactly what properties are available, what needs to be done with these properties, and how we can better utilize these properties. My time is up. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Yes, if there is any money left, because we know a lot of organizations and money was taken out of the ARPA dollars where it shouldn't have. But if there is any funds left, we could possibly take that and continue. I've been working with Habitat, volunteering, Habitat Metro, and G-Card to help residents in the first ward and actually Genesee County complete the applications because they didn't know the funding was there. So I help, and it has been successful each year. And then what I would do is take part of the money and do home repair and improvement, pay the water bills and some of the tax liens, because there's a lot of people that owe money. Instead of taking their home, some of that money could go towards saving a home. I would fight to take off some of those strict requirements that are disqualifying people to be able to participate in the program. I just don't think that's fair. Some of the programs had homeowners insurance requirements, and Metro actually took that requirement off this year because a lot of people can't get their homes insured. So why have that requirement? Then also, and I know this for a fact because I brought it up and I was told that it wasn't true, they are not running credit checks. The mayor stated that they were running credit checks. They are not running credit checks. That's a lie. He told a lie. They stole that money and they transferred it over to the general fund. We need to get that money back and get it allocated so we can help the residents with the tax liens, the water bills. We need to rebuild our communities, and we can do it. So what we need to do is, once there, we need to also audit the account to see, because a lot of that money disappeared and we don't know where it went. So that's some of the things I would be fighting for, is the ARPA money, if there's any left, or if not, we need to find some.
Thank you. I have no way to do real-time fact checking, so I'm not going to even try. But I am going to go down this path because of some of what you said, Ms. Morrow. In terms of city council being the city's executive branch and the mayor's office being the executive branch, I said legislative, I'm sorry, the legislative branch and the mayor's office being the executive branch, how will you help affect, I'm not going to say unified, because you don't have to necessarily be unified, but at least a good working relationship between the council and the mayor's office to affect what's necessary for the people as a whole? We'll start with you, Ms. McIntyre.
Well, the first thing is accountability for everybody. And make sure that what you say you're going to do, you're doing. Let them know what the needs of the people are. And one body is supposed to make up the laws and the rules, and one body is supposed to enforce them. We have to all hold one another accountable and make sure that whatever the guidelines are is being followed. We all have to work together, even if you don't like each other, don't agree. So you have to put that aside and decide what's best for the residents, the city, and come together and make plans and look at the financials and move forward, unified. Have to understand the needs of all people involved. But the first thing that has to be addressed is the residents. Everybody involved in the process is supposed to be looking out for the residents and the city as a whole. We have to get some of the things that we've given away. We have to get those things back to even make ourselves economically sound. Like our trash contract that's gonna run us over $2 million that was voted on, an unbalanced budget that our city council accepted that should not have been accepted. When questions to the CFO go out concerning the budget, they have to get back to council, and there has to be accountability. Okay, and when those things aren't happening, we have to openly discuss them and hold these people responsible. And that includes whatever branch is supposed to be holding them responsible, whether it's one another, law enforcement, or whomever. That's where the real work starts, when we can get accountability for all parties involved. And we have plenty of legislation, but it is not being followed. When one side has the power and they're doing whatever they want, somebody has to step in and hold them accountable. A lot of things could be working for us, and they're not, because there's no accountability. So let's start with getting together. Let's start with accountability on both sides. Let's start with doing what you're supposed to do, and that's representing the residents so that we can move the city forward economically and in a positive light.
Thank you, Ms. Arthur.
Thank you. I concur with what Ms. McIntosh has said as it regards accountability. There appears to have been considerable rubber stamping with our current council, and that needs to end. It appears as though people are not doing their due diligence in terms of, as was stated, serving the public honestly. But there is self-service going on if we really look at some of the types of decisions that have been made. Let's take, for instance, that priority waste contract. Now, we were duped last October into supporting that, even though in my ward in particular, there was a meeting where there was a vote taken. And it was shown during that meeting that the majority of people did not want to extend that contract. It wasn't necessary to have new garbage bins. It was also stated that there would not be any increase in property taxes. We know they cannot go up, but there would not be an assessment fee. Well, we know that's a deal because, as Ms. McIntosh accurately indicated, the council recently approved a $2 million payment to Priority Waste from our ARPA dollars. That's not what our ARPA dollars should have been used for. Had that not occurred, then we would see an assessment increase on the property taxes. So that was a bait and switch. That never should have happened. Furthermore, the contract should have gone out for requests for proposals. We should not have extended that contract for 5 years. Why did we even accept a contract that was $9 million higher than the lowest bid? By the way, Priority Waste recently acquired that company, Green for Life, right? So they added to their bank, so to speak, and we are funding that bank. We're a depressed economy. We can't afford to continue to pay for Cadillac services with Budweiser money. I'm sorry.
I'll say this, there's no need to apologize, just be mindful of the zero meeting wrap it up. There's no need to apologize, so just get your comments out, that's important to the people. Ms. Morrow?
Okay, we talk about unity between the mayor and the city council. We all know from looking at what's been going on, that's not gonna happen. Let's be serious. We have 3 council members working for the entire city of Flint. The rest of them, I don't know what to say. I'm gonna be nice today. I know there's some pastors in here. All I can say is, like, Ms. Beverly Biggs Levy has been successful with the recalls. All we can do is pray the present one that's going on, she's successful. The city of Flint residents, like I said, we can only pray. We need a mayor and a city council that can work together. We need a mayor that's gonna show up at the city council meetings and work with them, not against them. The same people that's supposed to be protecting us, we need help as a resident. So if we have to recall the mayor, it takes 5,000 something votes, but we can recall him. Because, hey, from what I can see from the outside looking in prior to coming, we should have kept the present mayor that was there. So we need to maybe work on that, try and talk her into coming back. So if anybody would like to volunteer for 60 days, let me know. We can get that recall going because anybody can sign up. And for the record, you burned down my headquarters this weekend. You set it on fire twice. I'm not getting another one. I can work out of my car. I don't need one. I'm a still win seat. I'm finished.
Mr. Dillon?
Yes, with the mayor and the council, I have, probably the last 10, 9 years been fighting through city council, and I would hope the mayor and the council could get along, but I'm like, Ms. Rosemary, I don't think this council and this mayor gonna get along, because to me, our mayor is a dictator. And I honestly believe that, because some of the things that council be going through, and like I say, nobody has accountability. First thing we need is accountability on all levels, all people. Second thing I would do, if you specialize in this, you stick to this field. If you're good at this, you stick to this field. We got 9 council members. And I'm sure out of the 9 council members, each one can specialize in one field. Put them in their field, let them specialize in what they're good at. Don't let them, if I'm good at computers, let me be computer. You good at financial report, let you do the financial report. Don't have everybody doing it. And another thing I would like, on these resolutions, I would like to see the council come in before 5 o'clock, maybe in the morning, and go through them. Then when they have the meeting, they'll have some kind of idea and won't be here all night trying to do the resolution. So I think accountability is key. If you ain't got no accountability and not having accountability, all the rest can go out the window. Thank you.
I just want a one-word answer to this. Are you gonna stay at a city council meeting until 2 o'clock in the morning?
No.
Ms. McIntyre?
Yes, if I have to, yes.
It depends.
It depends on if we're working on the budget.
Okay. I just thought I'd throw it out there. As I stated to the congressional candidates, I coined the phrase, Houston, we have a problem. Flint, we have a problem. Gun violence. Just this past week or so, one of the reporters in my newsroom did a story on a family who's endured a drive-by shooting at their home. Fortunately, there were no injuries, but we had children at home scared literally almost to death. Their mother at work. Police are investigating, but the family doesn't feel like they're getting the kind of response that they would like to see. We've spoken to the police department. We understand investigations take time. But how would you address, one, the violent problem that we have in the city right now, and two, the public safety response? What needs to change? Ms. Arbor, we start with you with this one.
Thank you. That was a deplorable response by our police department. I'm just going to be frank. The mother who experienced the violence in her children received a less than stellar response to a very serious situation where the mother had contacted not only the police, but to my understanding, the state police. She had even reached out to her council person of the 6th Ward. She had reached out as well to the state representative. All acts of desperation because the police did not respond appropriately. She had a Ring camera, caught the individual who was doing the firing, had the information, provided it to the police. However, there wasn't any immediate response. Why not? What does it take for our local police to do their job? Is this Uvalde, Texas, where the police are afraid to go into serious situations for which they have been hired to do as public servants? What is the first rule of the executive branch? Law. We must obey the law. Public servants who are police officers are required to serve and protect the public. This is inexcusable. The police department requires a comprehensive, extensive public safety program to be implemented immediately. Perhaps changes need to be made. There is micromanagement going on, from what I've heard, from the executive CEO to the executives underneath. You can't function well that way. We have to give proper responses to immediate, serious situations.
Thank you.
Part of the problem is with the city of Flint, we don't have enough officers. We know that. We don't have enough properly trained officers. The officers we started off with 300 officers, but now we're down to 100. And out of the 100, there's only 73 that's actually working. They try, some out on medical, they're using them for other things. But most crimes in the city of Flint, the bigger numbers take part in the evening, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We know that. There's a lot of shooting. There's people riding these quads. They're racing. There needs to be a whole revamp. We need a new police chief. We need a new police chief. We need a police chief and staff that are not afraid of the mayor. or the city council president, Liddell Lewis.
That's right.
Our taxpayer dollars, one of the reasons why we can't get a lot of officers on the street, because all of them are in city council. They have a security company working during the day to help the city hall. Why can't those same security officers work city council? We are not the problem. It's the some of the city council members, because we have 3 good council members. But if we can redo that and get them off, some of those officers, we got a bunch of sergeants, Sergeant V and the working council. They need to be on the street. I'm not trying to be mean, but, and then also we need a good community policing program with more officers that's gonna interact with the residents. We need police officers that know how to talk to the residents. We need well-trained officers, because the new officers are being thrown out. They have less than a year experience and they're thrown out to the car, one-man car. There's no way that should be happening. But we don't have enough older officers, senior officers to train them. We need our own training unit back. And we need to give the police department their budget back, so we won't be using their money for other stuff and then trying to give them little breadcrumbs. Thank you.
The police department. The third time I agree, it's terrible. I had a B&E on a Friday evening. They show up 2 o'clock Saturday morning. I'm coming in. They parked out. I asked them what's going on. They said they reported a B&E from 2 days ago at 2 o'clock in the morning. Now, that makes sense. I'm not sure. We need a new chief. We need better police respondent time. But I also feel like this. When somebody commits a crime, I don't care how many police you got around, they can find a way to commit that crime. So my suggestion is this. Mostly everybody in every neighborhood know everybody who's doing wrong or right. Go to them that's doing wrong. They can get with the people quicker than the people doing right can get to them. So go to them people and ask them, what do they need to stop what they doing? Most of them might say a job. Most of them might say they under some kind of a mental strain or something. So my thing is, if you know somebody, help them, maybe send them to a counselor. Send these kids to a counselor. That might reconstruct or rearrange them. Then the police can interact with them. But if a police come up to a kid now, it's like 50-50. You gonna draw first, I'm gonna draw first. And that's the real, I'm talking the real out here. Cause the police are scared of the kids and the kids are scared of the police. So what you gotta do, you gotta put them somewhere and change their mentality, which would be through counseling or help or mental health. Some type of way you gotta talk to them. Amen.
First, we need a comprehensive public safety plan. Okay, and this needs to include a gun violence and gang task force unit. Okay, first and foremost, and what task force units are specially trained units that only work on certain types of conditions. And we have an uptick in gun violence, especially with our youth. So I think we need a special task force just to address those things, okay? So that when Billy has a B&E, the other police are available to go out to this call. I think we're gonna have to up the pay, flat out. We're not paying our teachers or our police officers anything close to what they deserve, okay? If you're asking somebody to put their life on the line, they need to at least go home and be comfortable knowing they can pay their basic bills, okay? That's a problem that we're having with putting boots on the ground. You have to make that job attractive, okay? Because even if they do want to be a police officer, they can go somewhere else and earn a comfortable living. The pay has to reflect the responsibility that you're asking a person to take on. Then we also, I think we need, parents have to get involved. We need parent support programs because a lot of parents reach out when they realize they have lost parental control over their young person. And there's nothing there. Even if those are programs through our police, through community advocates, through schools or whatever, We have to address that, and then we have to address the mental health issues that we are turning a blind eye to. Those things have to be addressed. You will not abate any form of crime if you refuse to look at the mental capacity of the people that are committing these crimes. So we have to, there's several things that have to go into this, but that needs to fall under a comprehensive public safety plan, and it has to be for real. And people have to show up when they're supposed to, and they have to be held accountable when they don't show up. We need special people to do special things, because you can't ask somebody who just got on the job today to go to a shootout and 3 people already dead. We have to be realistic about what we're asking our public servants to do, and we have to take the jobs that we're asking them to do seriously, and then we have to pay them like we're serious. That's where we have to start, and it takes planning.
Thank you. You've each spoken a lot about serving the people, and that's what's important for our public servants, both at city council level, mayor's office, whichever level it may be. I don't think the folks in this room are the ones who need to hear this response, because they're here, they are engaged, and they want to be engaged. But how will you, as a city council member, reach out to those who are not in this room right now to get them engaged in their city and making a difference through you, if that makes sense? We'll start with you, Ms. Morrow.
Well, I already, I've been doing that for 3 years now. I started a neighborhood association, and we meet monthly, and we go over a lot of stuff. We cover a lot of stuff. By engaging in the community, you can't just sit behind a desk and write. I write grants, for instance, but the grants that I write is grants that help the residents. So what we need to do is we need to get out of the office and go out in the community and talk to the residents. Make sure you hold those town hall meetings. Go out in the different parts. Don't stick to one part of your ward. Go hold meetings in different churches, schools, wherever you can. If you have to go on a vacant lot and get some fold-up chairs, put up a canopy, you have to engage with the residents. You know, you could call them, you could social media. There's so many different things we can do to engage with the residents. So we need to just make sure we're out there, not just when we get to city council. And I know we have 3 good active council members that engage with the residents, but you have to go out in the community. You can't just hold the title and don't do the job.
Mr. Dillon.
I also agree with you. Guys put the field work. You can't be home, you can't be behind the desk. The more you get out and interact with the community, the more you're gonna understand the people and know what the community actually want and need versus what you think they want and need. So I would use social media platforms. You got Facebook, Snap, you got a bunch of social media. And social media is one of the fastest words besides word of mouth to get things out. So that's probably how I would communicate. Hands on, door to door, no block parties. That's not block parties, but they'll be information parties for your community and for your city. Thank you.
Could you repeat the question?
I was simply saying, how do you plan to engage the folks who are not in this room, in your ward,
Okay.
to be engaged in the city and in its government?
Well, go door to door like I've been doing. You have to meet people where they're at, and they're at home apparently. And so you have to get out in the community and do the footwork. And you do have to do town hall meetings, and you do have to use your technology and word of mouth and things of that nature, your block groups. And you have to let them know what you're doing, and you have to advertise that. You know, you can call your local news and they'll post different events that are being held in the community for you. So you have to, I think technology is gonna have to play a large part in how we navigate and communicate and set things up on a timely manner. And then it's gonna take the community to come together and maybe have to do some old school things that used to get great results, like sit-ins, boycotts. You have to come together and let your people that represent you know that you're serious about what you expect from them and hold them accountable, because people don't like a lot of ruckus. When it's not peaceful down at City Hall, then maybe we can get our mayor or whomever's attention. You know, that's what you have to do as residents, like we did during the rhino crisis. We had to come together. We had to speak up. Although we had a great leader navigating us through that process, old methods still work. You just have to implement them.
Thank you. Yes, I agree with everything that the candidates have said. I would like to say, for instance, in my ward, in the 7th Ward, there are 4 distinct areas whose neighborhood associations have become defunct. Those have to be reinvigorated or reestablished. That is an obvious way to get information out. My thinking is that we'll reestablish block clubs through training with the Neighborhood Engagement Hub. My idea is that you don't have to reinvent the wheel when the wheel already exists and is rolling well down the road. So I want to get key people out of those 4 areas to get the training along with myself that we need so that we can get our neighborhood associations going again. Fortunately, in other parts of our 7th Ward, the College Cultural Neighborhood area, Fairfield Village and Central Park, they have very active, wonderful neighborhood associations. And just by attending their meetings, I see how they keep their neighborhoods stable and strong. This is what I want to see in the rest of the 7th Ward. So getting those associations going. Also, as others have said, we have to use our technology. So, each one can reach one can reach 10, or however. We just sort of, keep, I don't want to call it a chain letter, but I think everyone understands what the concept is. We just have to share the information and encourage people to get involved. As Ms. Morrow indicated, reach out to churches. We go where people are gathered, our senior centers, wherever people come together, our library, and let people know that we need to come together. Also, we have to educate people. Sometimes people don't know what the issues are. And when we make the issues well known to them, they'll be encouraged to want to become involved. So that's a major aspect that's missing too. Why? Because we don't have newspapers anymore.
Thank you. I have to figure out how I want to phrase this. The relationship between the city council in this case, and the school board. I realize we have one candidate up here who probably speak very well to this issue because she has served on the school board. But I'm curious to know, we have an issue in the city right now. We've got a lot of abandoned school buildings. Crimes are happening at these buildings, whether it be arsons, whatever's going on. A lot has happened. We hear this argument from the city, and when I say that, I'm speaking from the mayor's office, that the school district should tear down these buildings or at least fence them up or do something to isolate them, if you will, from being accessible. School board or school system through the superintendent says we have limited money and we're trying to spend it on the kids, not on empty buildings. What do you see as city council's role in affecting some change on that level? Because at some point I would think we've got to come together as a city and figure out what to do with these buildings. And they belong to the school district, but the city wants stuff done. We don't seem to be coming together with anything here. How do you see city council at least beginning a dialogue that could affect some change on that level? Mr. Building Perfect.
Well, you're saying city council and the school board, right?
Well, I'm saying, do you understand what the question I'm posing? I'm kind of on road with some of these questions. I just want to be honest with you, but I think these are some issues that are important. We've covered this in the news. These abandoned school buildings. I think we're like across the street from one.
Right.
How do we, if the school district is saying we're not gonna pump money, what little money we have into these empty buildings, but the city is saying you need to do something about these empty buildings. We're at an impasse. So how do we get beyond it?
Here's what I think. Some of the schools probably do need to be tore down for as long as they have been. And I think it's the Flint board responsibility, since they fall under the Flint board. But I also think the city responsibility, since they let the schools get the way they are. And by then, I mean, when all these charter schools came in, that took away from our Flint schools. Should no city let their schools go because they're charter schools? Now, what I got upset about the most was this new school over at, right around here, that elementary school. That's the academy. Now, who allowed the academy to be right in the center of your city, those city cultural centers, you know? That should be a public school. Then where's all the lottery money that's coming? Take the lottery money coming in here and tear the schools down. You know why they can't do it? Because they ain't put no lottery money in our Flint public schools. So my answer to tear the schools down would be maybe get some outside contractors to tear the ones that really need to be torn down. And let's utilize the ones that can be utilized, reopen them, even if we got put like when I went to school, we had 1 through 6, 7 through 9, 9 through 12. Why can't we go back to that? You'll use up most space. You have the schools open, and you have more teachers in here qualified, I feel.
Thank you.
Well, first, what you have to realize is education is big business, and the school district's budget is bigger than the city's budget. So if you think politics does not play a part in your education system, you are sadly mistaken. You have to first of all, the city and the school district absolutely have to work together, because young people, young families bring young children. And in order to attract working class people that will participate in your community on a positive level, you have to provide the education for their children. When people buy homes, one of the first things they look at if they have children is the school system, which is killing our economy because we can't bring enough working class tax-paying people back to Flint due to the water crisis. The water crisis money has not been distributed. Well, the school district should have got some of that money. Instead, it was handed off to GISD mostly. Why is that when the Flint community school students were the victims? Then you have to look at those people who sit on your board with personal agendas, because what goes on your city council also goes on in your school district, okay? And you have to hold them accountable. Bad deals are being made. And like I said, you have to pay your teachers. When I was there, I voted for everybody that came in contact with a student on a regular basis that was a Flint Community School employee. I voted, some of them hadn't had a raise in 10 years. I voted for them to receive bonus money, because a lot of teachers go in their pockets to provide educational tools to the students. We have to get the political portion out of the school system, because as long as there are dollars there, our students will be forgotten, because there are people there to serve themselves instead of the students. As far as getting the buildings down, that's going to have to be a joint effort, because the school runs in a deficit, okay? And they are over $20 million in debt. And matter of fact, Dr. Pam Q tried to get that debt eliminated, but it was not adopted and voted for. Okay, so that back to the politics. And then you have to let them know that you are watching them. They know that you don't pay attention. So things are being passed that's not even been voted on. Okay?
Time. Thank you. Ms. Arbor.
Yes, thank you. Yes, as I understand it, the city council and the school board are separate. However, as it regards the buildings that are vacant, that have been burned, that are in disarray or decay, probably contain some sort of environmental hazards, be they lead or asbestos or other air and soil contaminants. I believe that there should be a study done to find out exactly what the materials are within those buildings, and that there should be a plan made, including not only the city, and the school board, but the state, with helping us to safely bring buildings down so that we can, over time, help to remediate that land. They will be brownfields if they are contaminated, but we cannot allow those unsafe buildings to remain. If I'm not mistaken, there was a child who fell recently inside of one of the school buildings. And that, you know, we can't continue to allow those sorts of things to continue. They're an eyesore. They devalue our homes. They depress our minds. We need to get rid of them. So whomever can come together to make it happen should make it happen. Now, there are schools that are still viable, and perhaps they could be converted into, for instance, senior housing facilities or micro business institutes or other provide other useful services to communities and to the city. But I do agree that the dilapidated, burned down, unsafe buildings need to come down.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, well, we know the city of Flint and the school board is not working together. I think a meeting do need to be held to determine what the issues are. The questions need to be asked as far as why are we taking our children out of district? We need to look at that. Why should the children in the city of Flint, or if someone relocates to the city of Flint, why they're gonna drive through the city of Flint and look at certain areas and say, no, I don't, and you guys brought up the water. You know, they're gonna look at that. The first thing in real estate they're gonna look at is what schools in the area. Where there's no schools in the area where or there's certain schools, so I'm gonna have to take them out of district. We need to look at that. And one thing we need to do, as far as the city, don't send the school board invoices for a fire because you can't catch the arsonist. Flint Northern has been set on fire over 60 times. That's just crazy. If you could sit an officer up at officers up at city council and transport the city council president, sit that officer up at the damn Flint Northern and catch the damn arsonist. That's just crazy as hell. I'm sorry. Let me see. The buildings that are salvageable, why can't we bring back some of the programs for the youth and adults? The ones that need to be torn down because they're unsafe, let's just tear them down. But the ones that are salvageable, we could do programs. I was in home ec, carpentry, Mr. Ewing for those who went to Northern, Mr. Ewing and Mr. Randy Johnson, small engines, automotives 1 and 2. Hell, I took automotives 2 twice because there was nothing else I didn't like the sewing class. We need to bring back driver's training because that's why a lot of these kids are getting into accidents. Swimming, there's a lot of kids that don't know how to swim. I just don't like deep water, so I don't know how to swim. But help with the pay of the teachers. You know, Ms. McIntosh mentioned there is a big budget. Well, somebody needs to look at giving the teachers more money because that meeting I went to over there, that had me in tears. So we need to look at that. Why we can still help. If the school board's we can't make the school board do something, but we need to figure out how we can help the teachers and the kids. So to get the kids educational material and get the teachers more pay, because the teachers are scared of some of these students, and I don't blame them because I've had to arrest some in the past. The students, that is.
Thank you all. I appreciate you indulging the question because it was more about how the two entities work together to affect some positive change for the city. We are tight on time now, so we're going to do closing statements. You each get a minute, and I'm going to go in reverse order across the table this time, so tomorrow we'll move back this way.
You said go.
Yes.
Okay.
You have 1 minute.
Okay. Thank you for allowing us to be here. When I'm elected to First Ward City Council, I will put the residents first. They will not be forgotten. There will not be no more First Ward, the forgotten First Ward. I will try and find my best to find additional funding and find grants, start a grant team, and I will write grants myself to help get additional funding to help the residents. And I will work with the other council members that need grants. So we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We each have the same problem. So I definitely will be working with the other council members when I'm elected. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you all again for your presence here, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to you. I have been back here since 1995. Flint is my home. I was born and raised here. And after having lived outside of Flint and returning home to just see the condition during which the city has fallen into, it's been very challenging for me. And I feel because Flint has given me so much and just has opened opportunities for me in my life, that it is necessary for me to give back. And I'm glad to be at a stage in my life where I have opportunity to do that. I want to continue some of the concerned citizen type of work that I've been doing, where I help, for instance, to keep our 7th Ward together when there was an effort to tear it apart. I want to continue to fight against efforts that try to bring marijuana grow facilities into our area. We don't need those types of things to continue in Flint. I want to continue to help the people and serve my ward and serve my city.
Thank you. Ms. McIntosh?
My name is Carol McIntosh, and I'm running for your 1st Ward City Council seat. And I will guarantee you that every time I sit in that position, I will represent you. I come for the residents. All those other entities have representation. I'm not there for that. I am not a rubber stamper. I do not go along to get along. If I have to stand alone to speak up for you, I'm willing to do that. I have a day job and I do not have a nonprofit. So you don't have to worry about me being self-serving. I want you to understand, I am only asking for the seat to move the community forward. I'm only asking for the seat because I love my city. I know we can do better. I have seen us do better. I remember a time when Flint was great, when jobs were plentiful, and when we had an education system that was the pilot for the country. We can get back to that. We just have to have people that will stand up, speak up, that are not there just to get along and go along. That is not me. I do work for the community. I do believe in individuality. I do believe in economic growth, and I do believe that our students, our elderly people deserve an opportunity at the best life that we can provide them. And I guarantee you, when I vote, that is what I will be voting.
Thank you. Mr. Bill?
My name is John Billings again. I run the 1st Ward, and if I'm elected, my first thing would be to speak to the citizens and try and get them that money that they do deserve. Because, believe it or not, the city owes each resident, according to my calculations, $3,000 that they never gave us. And I got this from Eric Mays from time we was talking. So my goal is to go get that money, give it to the citizens, which they deserve. Also, I would like to get some help Blight responsible for Blight. Instead of Blight passing the buck, we can make Blight do what we are out here doing. But you just got to keep on them. There's a guy named Nick down there. He cut a tree on the abandoned house. Then when I called him and asked him about it, he had enough to tell me it slipped through the crack. But I knew it didn't slip through the crack. What he was doing, they cutting trees down for their buddies. And all that, I would make the end and stop. All this, like I say, everybody gonna be accountable for whatever they doing. We gonna make them accountable.
Thank you, sir. And thank you all. Before we leave, I just want to remind everyone that the primary election is on August 6th. I'm fairly confident. I just have a gut feeling that everyone in this room is going to exercise their right to vote. My challenge to you is to go out and make sure that others who are not in this room exercise their right to vote as well. Thank you all for being here tonight. I appreciate it.
This is on
All right. Have a good night.
this will